So I'm Jeannene Przyblyski. I'm the provost at California Institute of the Arts, and I'm terrified by the time, so I've got my stopwatch running. But I want to say, first of all, that I'm spectacularly underqualified to talk on this subject matter to all of you. So I just want to put it out there that here I am, marginally qualified despite my qualifications, very magnificently put up there. And I also want to say to you that the idea that I'm presenting to you is half-cooked. It's an idea in real time, and I figured that's a spark, right? If I'm not quite sure, it's at least going to solicit opinion. And then the last thing I want to say is that it's actually at the highest level, that the reason I'm in arts education, and I'm sure all of you are as well, is because I actually do believe that art can change the world. Even as I want to kill half my faculty and student at CalArts because they're running amok, I believe we're doing something really important. And so with that said, marginally qualified, half-cooked, high aspirations. Okay, so what do I not know about? I know virtually nothing about arts integration as a teaching and learning strategy. I do not have a background in K-12 education, and I leave that to my esteemed colleagues, Glenna, Nadine, and Jennifer, who are here today from our CAP program, which is an amazing award-winning program that I learn from every day. But what I do know a certain amount is another kind of arts integration, and it's a term that's often used in placemaking and civic art and public art. And I've worked on that quite a lot. And I thought we should actually really challenge ourselves to not just define these terms, but to say what they're for, what our ultimate and lofty outcome might be. And on the one hand, I think when we're talking about it as a teaching and learning strategy, what we're really talking about is we want to build whole people. We want to help support the growth of whole, resilient citizens who are connected to each other and can reach their own personal goals and be nimble in a world no matter what it throws at them. That's what we all want to see. And on the other hand, we want to see those people living in substantial and vibrant places where they feel connected to one another and they can live and work and feel completely fulfilled. And those are big things, but they are, I increasingly believe, very much connected. We think about this without that at our peril, and we think about that without that at our peril. And the way I got to this is that I've been working on a project, and actually Sandy Rodriguez, who is here, has been working on it with me. It's a great project, the Someplace Chronicles, and it's got a great team. It's the LA County Arts Commission and Supervisor Mark Ridley Thomas's office who commissioned it from us. It has a huge scope covering 5 unincorporated areas in the county of Los Angeles. It's got a great team of artists from where else? CalArts. And it has as its goal to deliver on the ground artist books that are cultural asset maps produced from deep community engagement that affirm the special characters of these places. So, good goal, right? I'm working in Florence-Firestone. So what can we say about Florence-Firestone? One, there's been no lack of county regional planning intervention in Florence-Firestone. It's gone on for years and years, you can tell, because there's banners going down Florence Avenue telling you it's a special place, and fancy bus stops. Those fancy bus stops, that photograph is from a still from the Gangland episode on Florencia 13. So it's an interesting contradiction, right? It has credible community leadership. There's a group called the Florence-Firestone Community Leaders that's been active for over 10 years. People really invested in their community. It's got changing demographics that are just a part of California, right? Used to be a white working class neighborhood, transformed to an African-American working class neighborhood, is now predominantly Latino, but all of those people are still there. Maybe in different percentages, but all still there. And while I was working on this project, I was also thinking about something else. And I know this is a television show, but I've been doing a lot of work and a lot of walking around the city of New Orleans post-Katrina. And I was thinking, why does Treme look like this and Florence-Firestone look the way it does? They have a lot of things in common. High levels of poverty and unemployment, struggling schools, let's just say it, random and persistent violence, 3 homicides in Florence-Firestone this week after I submitted this presentation, lots of kids in jail, radical demographic shifts over the last 10 years, but interesting and highly personalized residential streets. Florence-Firestone is no less picturesque than is Treme, and people with long-standing roots in the community. But one struggles for identity and one is a symbol of resilience. And why is that, I think? Weak local identification or where you live. People in New Orleans really know where they live. Contested public spaces, true of both. Both places are actually equally unsafe in a lot of ways, but there are protocols in New Orleans for spontaneous and organized civic occupation. Ongoing struggle, this is it, to encourage a grassroots culture of creative producers versus cultural consumers dependent upon external providers like me. And on the other hand, very strong local participatory customs in art, music, and dance. So, what is arts integration? It starts with all of you in the schools, libraries, parks, communities, and museums. What's it for? It's to make strong individuals that produce strong communities. And we need to start thinking about those two things together. What is needed? Not only the educational strategies that we're talking about today, but different kinds of strategies for how we understand the occupation of public spaces, what can happen and what cannot happen in them, and what it means to really live in them. And finally, this is my last thought, we need to develop longer protocols for tracking our progress. What are the metrics for success on this level? Because they can't stop when they finish first grade or second grade or graduate high school or go to college. It has to stop when we have healthy communities. The end.